Hi, welcome back to Sarah Lilly Makes. My name is Sarah and this is my journaling space here on YouTube where I like to document and share all the things that I have been making. Today's episode is about all the things that I would like to make in this fall 2024 season. So if that is something that you're interested in checking out, please stick around and you'll find out what I want to knit this fall. For taking time out of your day to spend with me today. And if you haven't already, please like and subscribe and you can find out all the things that I have been making. And without further ado, let's get to the episode. A disclaimer, I always overplan. I think I say this at the beginning of every seasonal planning video. And I have an active imagination and it tends to go overboard. So my plans are, while they're concrete, I will not get to all of it. And that's okay. But I do really hope that I can get through most of these. And yeah, my imagination gets the best of me sometimes. And I overestimate how much I can actually knit sometimes. And I feel like a lot of you can relate to that probably, but it's fun. It's fun to just think about all the things that you can probably knit if you had unlimited time and more than a pair of hands. So my episode today, my fall plans, I have my notes here, so I'll be looking down. I have divided it into 5 categories: sweaters, cardigans, men's knits, kids, and accessories. I'm not the biggest accessories person. I much prefer knitting garments over socks or hats or scarves. I'm definitely not a scarves or shawl person. So garments are the majority of my plans, but I have decided that there are 2 things that I really want to knit for accessories this fall, so we'll get to that at the end. Okay, for sweaters, I have finished one of them. This was a plan of mine for a year and a half now, and I talked about it in my last episode, so I won't go into too much detail about it, but this is the Cumulus Blouse, which is a pattern from Petite Knit, and it is a raglan construction knitted with 2 strands of lace weight yarn, but I used a strand of fingering and lace weight. I used Sysleriget Merino singles in the colorway Fluff and a Knitting for Olive soft silk mohair in the colorway Cherry Blossom. So yes, like I said, I shared a lot of the details about this in my last episode, but this is my first fall plan that is completed and I won't talk too much about it. So if you're interested, I will put the info button up there so you could check it out. Okay, it will come as no surprise that the majority of my pattern or things that I want to knit this fall is Sandnes Garn. If you are a returning viewer, I think like 99% of these garments are, well, not 99. There are 12 things on this list that I want to make, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of them are Sandnes Garn patterns. Okay, let's start with the first thing that I want to make after this one, and that is the Heather sweater. This is a pattern from Sandnes Garn. This pattern was recently released and it is pattern number 2409-13. And this is, I will just briefly read a bit of the construction. The sweater is worked from the neck down according to diagrams. You cast on the upper back, work according to diagram. Then you cast off stitches, knitting up stitches on the longest side of the upper section. You are working according to diagrams. Then you pick up stitches for the left and the right front, left and right front. You work short rows to create, to shape the shoulders, increasing for the neck. You work the front and the back until the ribbing, and then you join the back and front and work ribbing, and then you sew up the sides with mattress stitch, and then you knit up the sleeves. You work sleeves according to double moss pattern and ending with very long ribbing, twisted rib. So this is an all over cable and texture knit. So I will include pictures here of all the patterns that I talk about as I talk about them, so you are not lost with all the patterns that I'm talking about. I'm looking at my computer just to, because the patterns don't have all the pictures. So this is a textured and cabled garment. There's a back diamond cable along the back that it goes across horizontally. Then you cast off, then you pick up stitches for the rest of the body, and you work down, and it's an all over cable section. So you are seaming up the sides after you finish the front and the back. You're working the front and the back completely separately. My plan is to seam it up before I do the ribbing, because that's what I did with another Sandnes garn pattern that was written similarly to that. And I seamed up the sides before continuing with the ribbing, because I just think it'd be neater if I seamed it up before doing the ribbing. So yeah, that's the Heather Sweater Cable Edition from Sandnes Garn, and I am planning on using the sample photo colors, which is Sandnes Garn Artic Ice, and the yarn is Tynn Pear Gynt and Tynn Silk Mohair. And I believe this is 4mm needles. Let me see, let me double check. Yes, 4mm needles, and then the ribbing on 3.5mm needles. So Tynn Pear Gynt is a 100% Norwegian wool. It is the fingering weight version of Pear Gynt, which I really like. I'm currently using Tynn Pear Gynt for another garment that I'll talk about when I get to it. And then the Tynn Silk Mohair is like any mohair, which is mohair, silk, and wool. So I really like this pattern a lot. I feel like it's going to be very engaging, and because you're doing quite a few different techniques, you do one technique, then you start something else, and it's exciting. It's going to keep my attention. I have really been enjoying just plain stockinette this year, because I feel like mentally I needed just plain stockinette, but I'm kind of eager to get back into more complex designs and patterns, and yeah, I hope I can get this done because it's a really beautiful design. The second pattern is another Sandnes Garn pattern, and that is the Spencer sweater. And this is a second version of the Spencer sweater, actually. The first version, I'm pretty sure, is Sunday and Tynn Silk Mohair. But this version is Ballerina Chunky Mohair, and I know I have it here. If it didn't fall down. Here it is. And the color I am going to be using is this very flaming red. The colorway number is 4018. I can't remember the name, but I'll put it down below if I remember what it is. So this is knitted on 3.5mm needles, and I think the original version is also knitted on 3.5. So this pattern is number 2409-07. So this is, I will just briefly read a bit of how it is constructed. It is worked from the neck down. You work back and forth, then you knit up stitches for the front. You work the front and the back separately, working short rows on each side to shape the shoulders. Then you knit up stitches for the sleeves and work short rows to shape sleeve caps. Then you put it all in the same needle and work back and forth with increases for the neck and the sleeves. When the neck is finished, you work increases for a raglan. And then you divide work for the sleeves, you work back and front and work each part separately. Then you work neckband and you fold down for a folded neckband. And then you pick up the sleeves. This will take a bit of time because it is worked on 3.5 millimeter needles, and that's fine. I think I worked a lot with 3.5 this summer, and I have been kind of gravitating toward 3.5 millimeter needles a lot too. So yeah, it's going to be very fluffy, but it's going to be very warm. And I really like Ballerina chunky mohair. I knitted with it a few times this spring. I think I've knitted with it 3 times, and I really like those garments a lot. They're very great layering pieces for going into cooler weather, and I think it would be great. The next garment that I want to finish is the Magne cable sweater, which I talked about in my last episode. And I'm done with the body, I'm done with one of the sleeves, and I started on the second sleeve finally after like weeks of putting it down. So I just started the second sleeve, and I think I've finished half a diamond. I am now working on a second diamond. So this is a pattern from Rauma Garn in this booklet, and it is an all-over texture cable knit, worked from the bottom up and seamed. And I like the design a lot. I definitely want to get it done and wear it. It's been a fun knit when I've been working on it. I just need to get into the mind space of, okay, I have to sit down. I am constantly looking at these charts. I'm just focused on that. I can't just, it's not a mindless knit where I can watch TV or anything. So I have to be sitting at my desk or the table or wherever I am, but I have to have the pattern booklet in front of me and just keeping track of where I am. I'm not that experienced in cable knits where I can just know what row I'm on for the most part, at least not in a garment like this. That is something new happening on every row. So I need to have the pattern with me. It is a focus knit. It is not a mindless knit. So yeah, but I am enjoying it, and I just really want to get it done. And I feel like I just need like 2 or 3 more evenings where I can sit for like 2 or 3 hours and finish it off. And then I didn't attach the sleeve on yet because I wanted to finish both of them and attach it at the same time. And I want to just make sure that I have it the same length. That's why I haven't attached it yet. I want to finish the second sleeve, then attach it together. But yeah, it's a completely bottom-up garment. You are working in the round, and then you split for the armholes, and then you work the front and the back separately. Then you seam at the shoulders with a 3-needle bind-off. I'm fairly certain it's been months since I have put it together, but I really like how I did the bind-off where the cables they meet, and they're both diamonds. So I'm really, really happy with how I seamed it together. It's not like perfect, but I am happy with the seaming. And then you do the neckband. So that is the Magne cable sweater that I would like to finish. And I have like 3 whips going that I can talk about as I get to them. I'm just including them in each category as I talk about it. So that was the Magne, and I have one more sweater that I want to talk about. And I will get the yarn. It's on the floor, so I'll get it really quickly. And the 5th sweater that I want to knit for myself this fall is the Amy sweater. And that is a pattern from Petite Knit. My husband has a lot of notes in the back of my pattern. Oh, and my daughter was writing. It's fine, whatever. Okay, this is a pattern from Petite Knit, and I just briefly glanced over it. I know it's a top-down, very high turtleneck collar, and there is a very attractive, to me at least, very eye-catching 2x2 rib on the body and, I mean on the neck and on the body hems. You start at the back. This is not worked completely where you start with the neck, the turtleneck. This is not started with the turtleneck initially. You start shaping the back, then you pick up the front, then you join, you work down, and then you pick up the collar at the end. It's not Petite Knit's traditional turtleneck construction. So I'll just read it briefly. It's worked from the top down in stockinette stitch. The first part of the yoke is worked flat back and forth to shape the neckline. Then the work is joined and around, and the rest of the yoke can be worked and around and shaped with raglan increases. The sleeves and hem of the body are finished with wide ribbed edges, followed by a small roll-over edge worked in stockinette stitch. The turtleneck collar is worked at the end from stitches that are picked up and knitted around the neck opening. Petite Knit has been utilizing a rolled stockinette edge a lot this year, and I really like it. I find it really casual, and it's just fun. I like it a lot, and I've been leaning toward that a lot this year myself. So that is the Amy sweater, and it is knitted with pure Gynt and, in my yarn. I mentioned that I have been on a pink kick, and particularly this color, which is Blossom from Sandnes Garn. I am working on 2 projects with this colorway currently. My Sevilla blouse from Petite Knit and a Bonnie Cable Sweater Jr from Agnes Cardigan. But I just really love this color. I've just been enjoying pink this year, and I am not ashamed to say that. I think I really like pink. I haven't been wearing pink much in my adult years. I used to wear it a lot as a teenager and young adult, and then I became a mom and I started wearing drab colors, and I feel like I just wanted to embrace color this year, and I'm enjoying pink a lot. And red for that matter, but we'll get to more red in a second. So yeah, that's the Amy sweater from Petite Knit, and I will be knitting it with pure Gynt from Sandnes Garn in the colorway Blossom. And the number, if anyone's interested, is 4315. So yeah, that is my 6th plan. I'm including this in my plans. I'm counting it because it was the plan. All right, those are my sweaters, and now I want to talk about the cardigans. The first cardigan that I want to make, I've already started, and it is a pattern from Sandnes Garn, and it is the Agnes Cardigan. I have a booklet here. Okay, this was just casted on in my last episode, and this is a gorgeous European drop shoulder cardigan. I will read the description so I'm not mumbling. This is worked from the neck down with a strand of Tynn pure Gynt and Tynn silk mohair. You work back and forth with short rows, and you are increasing to shape the shoulders. So you are increasing and doing short rows at the exact same time to create this ridge of the European shoulder. And then you work back and forth, increasing for the armholes. You pick up stitches for the fronts, and then you are increasing there, working a V-neck, and then for the armholes. Then when the fronts are finished, you are joining all the parts, the fronts and the back, and then you're working back and forth, and then you're decreasing at the sides and ending with twisted rib. Then you knit up the sleeves in stockinette stitch, and then you end with ribbing, and then you do double knit button band for the button band, and it is a very wide double knit button band, which I am loving the look of. It looks very classic, and it just looks very sophisticated. So my version, I had just cast it on last week, and I have been working on the back. I am very near where I have to start increasing for the armholes. So this is what it's looking like so far. This is where you're doing increases and short rows at the same time on that little shoulder panel, shoulder seam panel, and then you're picking up here when you get to the fronts. So I am using thinnest Garn 10 pair Gynt in the color Natural Tweed, and then I'm using Tynn Silk Mohair in. I'm almost done with my first balls of both yarns, and then I'm using the Tynn Silk Mohair in the color Natural. I took the ball bands off of the yarn, and I just kind of collect them all so I don't have the name present. So that is the Agnes Cardigan, and I talked about it a little bit in my last episode, and yeah, I am very eager to have this. I feel like as much as I've been enjoying color, like I literally just talked about, I've been wanting a little bit neutral in my wardrobe too, and I've been loving both, you know? I've been mostly knitting with colorful yarns and stuff, so I wanted just a tiny bit of neutral back in my wardrobe, so nothing wrong with that either. Alright, the next thing that I want to make is, I'll deviate from Sandnes Garn a little bit, and this is the chunky Mouline cardigan from Lyon Knit. And like I said, I will include pictures here because I know it's kind of hard to see me holding it up. This is the chunky Mouline cardigan from Lene Home Samso or Lyon Knit. So she has a DK weight version. It is knitted on 4, 4.5, and 5 millimeter needles. So with like all the 3.5 millimeter needle projects I have going on this year, I really wanted something big and fluffy and cozy. So that's why I've decided to go with this cardigan. And it's just a basic stockinette garment. So the chunky Mouline cardigan, I will just briefly give a little bit of the construction. You begin at the top of the back, then you work the top of the front section. Then you pick up stitches for the top of the sleeves, and then the sleeves back and front are worked together until the underarm. The body and sleeves are worked separately. Then you pick up stitches for the button band along the front and V-neck. The button band is knitted to the cardigan at the same time as the button band is worked. The yarn recommendation for this pattern is Isayer Jensen yarn and Isayer Silk Mohair, which I don't have access to, so I just decided to use something that I had already had in my yarn collection for a little while, and I'm going to be knitting this with Sorella Classic DK in the colorway Cardigan, and I'm pairing it with a slightly different color yarn, Sorella Yarns Steri-Lace Alpaca in the colorway Boulangerie. So they look similar, very similar together, but the Steri-Lace Alpaca is a little bit more pinkish, and this is definitely more beige with a slight pink undertone. But I am excited to pair these together. I'm excited for this garment. I have been wanting to knit it for a while. I've had the pattern printed for a really long time, and I decided to just add it to my fall knits so I can actually get it knitted. Now, if I actually get it knitted or not, that is a different story, but yeah. That is the chunky Mouline cardigan from Lyon Knit. And then my third cardigan that I would like to knit is another Sandnes Garn pattern. This is the Corneila Cardigan, and I'm going to knit it with the sample yarns that they used. So I am using Alpaca Wool and Alpaca Fogotrad in the color 4018. Pretty sure it's the same color. Yeah, these are all the same color. So yeah. All right, let me just talk a little bit about the construction really fast. You work the cardigan from the neck down according to the diagrams. You cast on stitches for the back and work back and forth with short rows to shape the shoulders. Then you continue back and forth until the underarms. Then you knit up stitches for the front and decrease and increase to shape the neckline. You work the fronts and back until the underarms and join the work. And then you work back and forth until you get your desired length, and you end with ribbing. Then you knit up stitches for the armholes, for the sleeves, Then you work the sleeves, then you end with ribbing, then you work front bands and neckband. And this is just such a gorgeous, I fell in love with this cardigan when I saw the pattern. I have the summer tea version of this pattern, and it was on my summer plans, and I never got around to it. Surprise, surprise. I just didn't get around to a lot of my summer knits because summer was just not a great time. And I was just, yeah, I just didn't have the time to do it. So I really want to work on this for the fall, and I really love the color. It's so gorgeous and vibrant and red, and yeah, it's a 2x2 rib, which is just stunning. I love that thick, chunky 2x2 rib. And yeah, the diagrams here in the middle of the booklet. What I like to do with my Sandnes Garn patterns is there is a QR code at the back. It's at the back right here. And you scan it and it uploads into your Sandnes Garn online pattern library. And I print it from there because I treasure these little booklets. So I don't like marking up in them very much. And I know I will be using a highlighter to mark up my charts when I start working on this. So I'm gonna print it and it will be fine. I haven't scanned it yet because I haven't really started thinking about casting on this yet. But once I'm ready to start, I will upload it into my computer and print it out from there and start working on it. But that's just a little thing that I like to do with my Sandnes Garn patterns from these. I really appreciate that. I really appreciate that they give you a QR code that you can access and have like your own digital copy of it. And that is the Corneila cardigan. And like I said, I'll be knitting it with alpaca wool and alpaca fogeltrad, which is the recommended yarn. And it is knitted with 4mm needle. Let me just double check really fast. Oh no, it is 4mm and 4.5mm needles. So the body is worked on 4.5 and then the ribbing on 4. Okay, that's good. That's a little bit motivating. All right, the next category of patterns is men's, and I want to knit 2 things in this category, one for my husband and one for my son. And I have the patterns and I have the yarn. I just need to find it on my mess of a table. Okay, the first pattern that I want to knit is the Matthew sweater from Sandnes Garn. This is a top-down zipper sweater. I think this reminds me of petite knits, but it's not a raglan. It is a drop shoulder. I will just briefly read about this, and I have some thoughts because I've already started. I have some thoughts on this pattern. You work sweater in stockinette stitch from the neck down. You cast on stitches for the back. The right and left shoulder will be shaped separately with short rows. Continue back and forth until the underarms. Knit up shoulder stitches for the left and right side of the front. Shape shoulders with short rows. Cast on stitches for the neckline. Join fronts when the slit is long enough for the zipper. Join back and front at underarms and continue in rounds until the full length, ending with ribbing. Then you knit up the stitches in the armhole for the sleeves. Work sleeves and rounds until the full length, ending in the ribbing. Then you work neckband and ribbing back and forth. Work short rows for left and right side of neckband to create and shape a higher neckband at the back. Then you fold the neckband to the wrong side. Work back and forth with decreases for the front band to fit into the deeper neckline. Then you knit up stitches at the edges of the slit on the front for the zipper. And then you sew in the zipper. That's a lot. This is labeled as experienced, and so I cast it on. I don't know, I have very high expectations of myself sometimes. My husband's birthday is next week, and I was like, I can make this in like 2 weeks. No, you can't. No. I'm making the size extra large, and I started at the back. I started at the back. Okay, everything is getting tangled. Okay. I started this project like 4 nights ago. Yeah, no, 3 nights ago, because today is Thursday and I got it on Monday. Anyway, I started this Monday night. So I cast on, and then you're supposed to do short rows at the shoulder, back shoulders, to shape it. Yeah. I read the pattern correctly. Mind you, it was 9 p.m. at night, but I read it correctly. And then I realized I was doing something wrong because it was telling me to do German short rows for the right shoulder, which would be this shoulder. But I had done German short rows for the left shoulder, according to the directions. So I was like, I'm doing something wrong. I'm reading the pattern and it's not turning out. I'm only just casting on. What's going on? Anyway, I frogged it and then I was like, I'm not going to do this right now. I'll just pick it back up tomorrow when I'm not tired and maybe I'll understand it better. I did it. I picked it up the next day and it was the exact same thing. So I was really confused and I said to myself, I'm just going to continue. I'm just going to pick up the other shoulder and I'll figure it out. So as it turns out, the pattern was written incorrectly, and if you go on their website under the pattern that you're working on, if there are corrections, they will have a link to the corrections of the pattern. Anyway, there is a little bit of missing information also in the pattern because it is telling you to have an edge stitch. As with a lot of Sandnes Garn patterns, they tell you to knit an edge stitch for the edges of where you're going to pick up for sleeves or neck or wherever, and that information is missing from the pattern booklet and it wasn't on the corrections page. So I'm just doing the edge stitch as they normally instruct in all of their patterns, which is just knit. You knit on all the edges. So this is all I have so far. This, like I said, I'm knitting the extra large, which is a lot of knitting, so I am not going to... I'm fine that this is not going to get done for his birthday. If anything, it will be done by Christmas, hopefully, and this will be a Christmas present for him. So there's not much. It keeps rolling up, so it's kind of annoying that you can't really see, but I have like 3 inches of knitting. And I will continue working on this and not get it done this fall. It'll probably be done by winter. But I'm using the recommended yarn and I'm using the color in the sample, which is what I do. This is pure Gynt and the color is marine blue, which is 5575. And that is the Matthew sweater, which I am kind of scared to knit, honestly, because it's going to be a lot of knitting and then it's going to be a lot of things going on with the neckband, but we'll see. The next sweater, and I think the last one that I want to knit for men's this year, is a sweater that I want to knit for my son. And this will also be a a Christmas gift because, yeah. This is the Brendan sweater from Sandnes Garn, and it is pattern 2412-08. The Matthew sweater is 2412-4, and the Brendan sweater is 2412-8. And the recommended yarn is Sandnes Garn's Tweed, which I have. And yes, it is the color of the pattern, sample sweater. And the colorway is 1085. I think it's like light gray, 1085. So this is worked from the neck down. Cast on stitches for the back. You work short rows to create and shape a deeper back neckline. You work increases to shape the shoulders. Then you work back and forth until the underarms. You knit up stitches for the left and the right front. Increase for the neck, the front neck before the 2 sides are joined. Then you work the front until the underarms. Knit up stitches for the right and the left sleeve cap. Transfer all the stitches to the same circular needle for a raglan. Then you divide the work for the sleeves, and then you work each part separately. You work the neckband in 2x2 ribbing, and then you fold to the wrong side. So I really love 2x2 rib. I feel like I've said that quite a few times. So this is also 2x2 rib at the neck and all the edges. So that's exciting. But this looks like a very straightforward, this looks like a great men's pattern. I really love the men's line that they came out with this fall. It's a lot of really gorgeous designs. I think I got quite a few of the patterns on my wish list to get to knit if I get a chance to. So I will be using their tweed yarn, which I really love, and it is 85% extra fine wool, 20% cashmere, and it is all over, it's a recycled, 100% recycled yarn, so that is really cool. It is a sport weight yarn. It's 50 grams to 175 meters, and I think this is a 3.5 millimeter needle project. I'm pretty sure. Let's see. Yes, 3.5 millimeter needles, and then 3 millimeter needles for the ribbing. So that will be another time-consuming project, but I'm only making the size medium, so that should be okay, hopefully. And that's it for the men's patterns, and then I have 2 kids patterns that I want to make. One of them is Sandnes Garn, so I'll talk about that first. And that is the Debutante Sweater Jr. And this came out, yeah, this is their first, one of their first patterns from this year. This is 2401-5. So I will be using the recommended yarn Poppy in this color that I had gotten last year. I think this is like Falling Leaves or something like that. This is not Cloud in the Sky. This is Falling Leaves, I think. The colorway number is 1011. A little bit about the pattern construction. It is work from the neck down. You work back and forth. You start at the back, you work back and forth, cast on new stitches for the front to shape a deeper front neckline, and then you work increases for the raglan. When you are done with the increases, you divide work for the sleeves back and front, and then you work each part separately. Then you work a neckband and fold double to the wrong side. I haven't done the debutante sweater before, have I? No, it wasn't a debutante sweater, but I did another Poppy sweater for my son at the very end of last year with Poppy, and he wears it all the time. But I am making this one for my daughter, my youngest daughter. I love Poppy. It's very soft. It's similar to Cos or Cos. I don't know if I'm ever saying that correctly, but it's very slightly different meterage. Poppy has 110 meters per 50 grams, and I think Cos is 150 meters per 50 grams. So, but I like Poppy and I like Cos. They're both very similar. Poppy is 50% alpaca, superfine alpaca, 35% cotton, and 15% merino wool. Poppy is a blown yarn, if I haven't mentioned that before, but I really like it. I feel like it's just, it's lovely to work with and it's lovely to wear. So that is my first kid pattern that I would like to make, and the second one that I want to make is a petite knit pattern. This is the third petite knit pattern on my list, including this one. And I want to make the Lyon Sweater Jr for my younger son because he wears all the knits that I make for him, and I just want to make this one for him. So I want to make it very nautical themed because I've been enjoying that this year as well. And yeah, I just like the color combination. This is almond and night sky. They're both petite knit colors, but this is double Sunday. It's very not showing up very well, but it's almond. The cream is almond, and then this is like the night sky. It's a petite knit color. The colorway numbers are 5581 and 2511. I should have this memorized because I've used this color so many times. But yeah, that's the Lyon sweater, which I will include a picture of, and I've talked about it quite a few times because I've made one for my daughter, my younger daughter, and I made one for myself this year. That is my last garment that I would like to make, and then I have 2 accessories that I would like to make. And the first one is a Sari Nordland pattern. I really don't make accessories. I've mentioned this already, but I have been really wanting to get myself or make myself a pair of fingerless gloves. And I know Petite Knit has the really basic one that she has. I have it in my library and I just can't remember what it is, but I don't want to make that. I want to make something with that's very classic and elegant. And the one I want to make is the Polymnia Mittens by Sarah Nordland. And this is just stunning. Like, I want to make a lot of things in this book, and I just need to find the time for it. This is a all over cabled and ribbed mitten, fingerless mittens. I will read a little bit about the construction. You start the Polymnia mittens with an optional tubular cast-on, which provides a stretchy edge to the cuffs. There's a classic cable pattern worked on top of the mittens, and the rest of the mitts are worked in 2x2 ribbing. It comes in one size, and you are using DK weight yarn. The sample is knitted on Gepard Garn Eco Cashmere Vintage, which I don't have. And so the yarn that I want to use is a fingering and mohair held together in another red color. And this is Sysleriget yarn, cashmere sock, and brush deluxe, which is like Suri alpaca lace. And it is the color Wild Poppy. So I feel like this will be a really great statement accessory, which, I mean, I'm using a lot of red anyways, so they're all kind of gonna be statements. But yeah, that's fine. I'm gonna be using this held together to have a DK weight gauge. The needle size is 3.5 millimeter needles. I really want to get this done. I won't be able to wear it yet because we're still technically in summer up here in Northern California, so it'll be a great winter accessory for when I get around to making it. But yeah, that is the Polymnia Mittens by Sarah Nordland. And I do want to make a bunch of things in that book. I just need the time and I need the hands, and yeah. And finally, the last accessory that I want to make is from Sandnes Garn. It's the Charlie Beanie from their recent collection 2412-03. And this is knitted with a strand of alpaca wool and one strand of alpaca fogotrad. And I forgot to bring the yarn, so I'll get it. I will be using the colorway Marzipan, I'm pretty sure. I've had this alpaca in my yarn for a really long time, and I've used quite a bit of it, and I have one ball left. So I figured I'll just get the alpaca wool and pair them together. And this is 60% alpaca, 40% wool, and 50 grams is approximately 100 meters. I'll give a little bit about the construction. It is worked from the lower edge up in ribbing with those two yarns. You work a Thailand cast on for the edge, continue in ribbing, and work the fold. Then you turn the work inside out and continue ribbing with decreases at the top. The Italian cast on and ribbon makes the hat elastic with a comfortable and close fit. And this is worked with 3.5 millimeter needles. So yeah, I would like to make one of these for my husband. And I only have this alpaca and the red alpaca wool. This is my first time using alpaca, would be my first time using the alpaca wool from Sandnes Garn. But I already really like it. It is so soft, and I am not sensitive to alpaca, and I don't know that my husband is or not. That's fine. But I have other yarns that I could work this up with for other gift knits, hopefully, for the guys in my life. But yes, that is the Charlie Beanie from Sandnes Garn. And like I said, it's mostly garments, and I want to knit for other people in my life this year. I knitted quite a bit last year for my family members, and this year I kind of changed it up where I knitted a lot for myself. And now as we're getting near the end, I'm like, I have a lot. I want to knit for other people too. Get back into that, like, gift knitting mode, I guess. Yes, that's it for the episode today. I had no interruptions today, shockingly, which is good. I will try not to do a whole lot of editing, and it's helpful when there's no interruptions for me to not have to edit out. Yeah, that's it. That is my tentative fall plans. Not really tentative. That is my fall plans, and I really want to get a lot of it done. I have already started a few of them, and I finished one, which is fantastic. And a lot of these projects are, I feel like I balanced it with more complex and then some staples, basic staples. So that is kind of nice. It's a nice feeling that I have where I can interchange my projects from like a basic garment to a complicated project. So that's nice to just have. But yeah, that is my fall plans. If you were working on something while you were watching this, I would love to know what it was you were working on. And if you have fall plans, I would love to know what you are going to be up to this fall or have already started, because this is pretty late to make and upload a fall plans video. It's like already the second week of October, but better late than never. So thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you haven't yet, please like and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Thanks for watching again. Bye.